Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be discussing a very interesting discovery in the gaming industry, a sort of shadow publisher that has been connected with many different studios across the industry has now been exposed for not only pushing a woke agenda that is trying to astroturf diversity in the industry, they're also controlling the publishing of many different games from many different studios. Now, a lot of people think about Sweet Baby Inc. when it comes to these insidious behind closed door type companies that are trying to shape the industry. Now, today we're not going to be directly talking about Sweet Baby Inc. However, Sweet Baby Inc. will be involved with this publisher because, of course, they are. So what we're talking about today is a report from the channel Gothic Therapy. It's run by Master of the TDS and his wife, Writing Raven, and they made a discovery. They began by looking at a company called Landfall, and then discovering a large volume of companies associated with them, including a shadow publisher that has been connected to many different companies within the gaming industry as a whole, as well as many games that have been released, and of course, Sweet Baby Inc. as well. So let's listen to what they have to say in this report that has caused some of these companies to completely wipe their online presence, by the way, and then we'll add some additional insights as well.
That's where Wings Interactive comes in. If you haven't heard of them before, that's exactly how they want it. Wings Interactive is a consulting and funding group a lot like SBI, except instead of pushing writing and narrative changes, they fund and support game studios. But here's the thing. Wings isn't an indie fund at all. It's a front, a puppet company designed to let Landfall games secretly control indie projects while pretending to be hands-off.
So basically what's happening here is you have Landfall through many of their different companies they also own who are working with this Wings Interactive group that is publishing games. So basically, Landfall is able to publish games without having their name on it, which, as with anything else, including Sweet Baby Inc., the fact that these companies don't want you to know who they are and who they're working with is concerning. It should be directly concerning to you because why would you be hiding something? Are you not proud of the games that you're publishing and helping produce? Yeah, it seems very suspicious. Now, here's their website, by the way, and I just happen to be very lucky because I opened this yesterday and just had this tab open today, and unfortunately for everyone, Wings Interactive has nuked their website. They have wiped pretty much everything clean at this point as a result of the report we're watching today. But you can see, right? You go through here, it's all about marginalized groups in the industry, and they're trying to fund them up to $500,000 to produce games that they approve of. They have to approve of it. But there's a lot of steps to take, but let's let them explain what's going on here further.
But don't take my word for it. Let's read their own mission statement. Wings believes that some of the most creative and successful games of tomorrow will be made by teams where women and other marginalized gender developers hold key creative, technical, or business positions. To create those opportunities, Wings provides project funding up to $500K and business support for teams to self-publish their games and build sustainable studios.
Ah, yes. Independent, but only if they approve of you.
Exactly. And
yeah, so that's like the whole thing, right? They're picking and choosing who they are going to fund with their money here and who they're going to help publish. And of course, they have an agenda. I think it's very obvious they're only going to give this money to marginalized groups that they approve of in this scenario. And you saw their whole thing. Their slogan is diversity equals creativity, which I think is the biggest load of crap ever. Just because there's diversity doesn't mean there's creativity. That is such a lame phrase. It's an excuse to push the type of marginalized people you want into the industry, put them on the forefront, and continue to basically astroturf diversity in the industry. That's why we have certain percentages like this. So this was reported recently. We briefly talked about this, right? Women and non-binary devs now make up 32% of all game developers. That is up from 24% from just 3 years ago. Do you think that is a natural expansion of those groups? No, it's astroturfed, it's forced, it's just an agenda push because people want to push this idea that diversity equals creativity. Therefore, we have these numbers going up and up and up. And also, we don't even know if, by the way, Woman refers to someone identifying as a woman. So these numbers could indicate even more things like that. But anyways, looking at their website, they will fund your game, right? Up to 500,000. I doubt they're giving that much to anyone. But what really makes me kind of scratch my head about this whole thing is that it doesn't seem like there's really a profit here. Like, it doesn't seem like on its face they're going to make any money on these games that they're helping publish, because a lot of them are literal who games, right? Like, nobody's heard of these games, and yet they're putting so much investment in it. And even for the people, like, look at the terms. Your revenue share is 30% until we recoup our investment once, 50% until we recoup twice, and then 70% we adjust this according to risk. Again, it seems like their main goal here is to push out more of these games that align with their agenda, and that seems to be it. And the only other thing I can really imagine is some sort of write-off as a result of all of these efforts. But look at the games they have produced. Again, this has been nuked, but they're listing some of the funded games on their website. And if you scroll down, I mean, you look at the teams and you look at some of the games and what they're doing, and it all just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So here's some examples, right? We have this Grimmery Groves. Okay, this game is coming out in about, I believe, a few months. So here's the trailer, the gameplay trailer. 300 views in a year and a half. Is this game going to make any money? So they're investing in games like this and bragging about it. I don't know anything about this game, but the fact is 319 views on its trailer at this point. Like, even if every single person purchased a copy who watched this trailer, there's no money to be made. It's not going to make any money because games like this typically sell for $10 or $15. But let's look at some more examples. So you keep scrolling and you see, again, just kind of the usual suspects. Here's Sigh of the Abyss. So if you go over to SteamDB, this game released only a few months ago and has 2 in-game players. If you look at the stats, it peaked at 101 players and then it just completely flatlined. Like, did they make money on this? And let's keep scrolling again until we see this one right here. The Fermi Paradox. Again, looking at SteamDB, 2 in-game players. I mean, at this point, I'm wondering if these people are like opening multiple browsers to keep these games going. But again, this one actually peaked at 423, but then immediately flatlined. And that also, this game was, consider that this game was released 4 years ago. But that's just the point I'm making here. It seems like every single game that they have funded, I look into, and there was no audience. There seems to be no actual profit. And also, you look at the people who are developing these games, and it just seems to fit their own agenda at this point. But this list has been nuked. So let's return to the report here, because there's some interesting developments that they're going to show involving Landfall's actual building they work in.
And here's the kicker. If you search for Wings Interactive, you will find 0 connections to Landfall games.
Almost like they don't want you to know.
The missing piece of the puzzle? Wings' real name. They don't just operate as Wings Interactive. Legally in Sweden, they're known as Vingar Interaktiva, AB.
So there's going to be a lot of Swedish names, and I would have made an absolute fool out of myself, so I appreciate them actually doing the pronunciations for me. That's worth a like by itself, okay?
And why does that matter?
Because Vingar Interaktiva AB is registered at the same address as Landfall Games. That's not just a coincidence.
No.
That's a cover-up. If Wings was truly independent, why would it share an office, a legal address, and even board members with Landfall? Not only that, but at least 12 companies are registered at this same location. And guess what? We've proved they're all connected to Landfall. Here's the...
Yeah, so we're going to look at proof in a second, but it's pretty crazy to think there's 12 different companies all registered to the same building in Sweden, including Landfall and Wings Interactive. That's very suspicious. Obviously, like they said, it's not just a coincidence.
The breakdown. Landfall Games AB, which is the core studio. Landfall Publishing AB, their publishing branch. Landfall Invests AB, part of Landfall Games AB. Landfall Mansion AB, business management. Landfall Mountain AB, another Landfall company. Will Know Games AB, linked to their CEO. Wilhelm Nuland Aktiabolog, named after their
I had no shot at
CEO,
pronouncing
Content
that.
Warning
No
AB,
shot.
which shares a name with their latest game, Content Warning. Then we found a few independent companies, except they aren't actually independent.
Well, of course they're not independent if they're registered to the same building as Landfall and I guess Wings as well. It's a very confusing mess, but it shows that there is a greater connection, that basically these players involved, they have their tendrils across multiple sources in the industry, and that is very concerning, especially when they have a clear agenda to be pushing.
Haste Development AB, created by the same people behind Landfall's game Haste Broken Worlds. Arade Grodor AB, or Honored Frogs AB. We found that one of Landfall's developers, Petter Vilberg, is listed as a board member. Thepathin AB.
That's where it gets really interesting for me.
Its board includes Landfall personnel, including Petter Henriksen. This makes it another Landfall-controlled entity operating under the same roof.
So, in other words, it's not a coincidence. They
No.
basically just own the whole building.
Bingo, which means Wings Interactive isn't just at the same address, it's part of Landfall's secret business empire.
Which should be concerning to you because they are advertising themselves as this indie publisher that's working with all these companies on their own volition, and yet they are clearly tied to Landfall, which makes them a liar. It makes them coming off as disingenuous. They're trying to basically bury the lead, and it seems like Landfall clearly has a deep connection to Wings, which, why would they hide that?
So, who's really behind this operation? Well, it gets even juicier. Two names stood out immediately. Petter Henriksen, the vice CEO of Wings,
And this has
who
all been wiped,
also
by the way.
happens to be the co-founder of Landfall Games, but funny enough, doesn't list that he is the vice CEO of Wings on his LinkedIn.
Yeah. You feel the red flags going off there? Why would you be in a position like that with a studio and not list it in your LinkedIn? People list every single thing they've ever had the slightest professional connection to in their LinkedIn. It is literally advantageous for them in their career to do so. So the fact that they're hiding it, yeah, super, super bizarre.
Christian Schuster, a Wings selection committee member who also lists
Pronouns everywhere, by the way.
Landfall Games in her work experience, and she actually has both of these on her LinkedIn.
So, they're not even trying to hide it?
Apparently not. The people running Wings are literally Landfall employees. Now, we have to ask, what is Wings actually doing? They claim to be a funding organization for indie devs, but given everything we just found, that's a lie. Wings isn't a fund, it's a shadow publisher.
So, basically,
Which is an interesting concept to see a shadow publisher in the gaming industry who, of course, seems to lean one way with their sort of goals and agenda. And again, with Sweet Baby Inc. or any of these, anytime they want to keep a low profile, there's a reason for it, and it's a reason that should be concerning to you as a customer.
they exist so that Landfall can secretly publish and control games without officially putting their name on them?
Exactly. Big companies have done this before, using independent brands to publish games while avoiding public scrutiny. And now we have the receipts to show that Wings is just another branch of Landfall. And remember when I said this connects to SBI? Kim Belair, the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. and self-proclaimed Bowser enthusiast, literally sat on Wings' selection board, and that...
Yeah, like I said, Sweet Baby Inc. would be connected through their CEO, Kim Belair, because of course, whenever there's some weird thing going on in the industry that seems very insidious, somehow it's going to go back to Sweet Baby Inc. And of course, the Bowser enthusiast, that's a very good reference to some interesting things that Kim Belair had to say about the character Bowser. She's quite the enthusiast, I'll just put it at that. But 10 out of 10 reference there.
changes everything. SBI is already known for manipulating game narratives behind the scenes. If they've been working with Wings, then that means that this isn't just about Landfall. This is part of something much bigger. Don't believe me? Well, we even have video footage of her confirming it herself.
And I've also been on the advisory board of a few funding bodies, including the Wings Fund, which specializes in grants for women and marginalized people working in games and funding projects that come to us through there.
Her biggest enemy is herself. Yep, pretty much the biggest enemy of Sweet Baby Inc. and really anyone is just their own mouth. And the things they say and the things they share. I think they get overconfident, and they got overconfident over the course of time because they were able to do things without any public scrutiny whatsoever. But now, yeah, things have changed, these things have been unearthed, and it doesn't look good.
The plot thickens. So, if Sweet Baby Inc. and Wings are in fact working together, then that means
This could be bigger than just Landfall. SBI already operates in the shadows, pushing activism and changing game narratives behind the scenes. If Wings is working the same way, this could be a much larger operation than we originally thought. So to sum it all up, Wings Interactive, a company that claims to support indie developers, is actually a shadow publisher used by Landfall Games to quietly control game publishing without putting their name on it.
And with ties to Sweet Baby Inc., there's no telling
That's
how
never
deep
good.
this web really goes.
This isn't just
That to me is the most interesting thing. Is I feel like this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg with this stuff. I feel like this goes way deeper, and I feel like Wings is not the only publisher doing this stuff. I feel like there's infinite more out there doing the exact same thing. And the fact that these companies are so shady and so shaky and elusive about this stuff should tell you everything you need to know.
a couple companies working together by coincidence. This is a hidden network controlling indie gaming from the shadows. Landfall, Wings, SBI, they're all connected, and they don't want you to know.
This could change everything.
And this is just the beginning. Stay tuned.
And people will say, "Oh, what's the big deal? Oh, they're helping publish these games, Rev. What's the big deal?" Well, I think it's a big deal that these publishers are literally afraid to have you know that they're working on certain projects. And Landfall wants to work through another company to publish games. Why would they do that? Why would they ever do that other than the fact they don't want you to know?
Tuned, because we'll keep digging into this mystery and bringing you the truth. Hey, before you go, future GDS here. As we were finishing up the video, we actually found something quite significant. At the end of April 2021, Riot Games actually contributed $1 million to Wings for games by...
It's over. You know, are we too surprised that it gets that deep? Man, like I said, I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to hear a lot more about this. But yeah, as I was hinting at earlier, they would share this information that as of only about 2 hours of recording this video, they have deactivated their Twitter account, completely nuked it whatsoever, and a lot of aspects of the website, or pretty much the entire website, has been nuked at this point. I'm afraid to reload mine. I don't want to lose that tab, but it appears that they have nuked their entire digital footprint at this point because they've been found. Tell me that doesn't make them look incredibly guilty. Who has their company discovered and then immediately nukes themselves? It's crazy. It's just an admission of guilt at this point, and it shows they know they're up to something not good, and gamers are not going to like what they're finding. But let's go back to this video. Great job by them. Another great report. They've done several really good reports on not just Sweet Baby Inc., but a lot of things going on in the gaming industry, and it appears they just hit 10K subs, so let's help them out. I'll put a link to this video in the description. Consider watching, giving a like, helping the engagement on it, and consider subbing to their channel as well. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.